993, 994, 995.
What is this, Brian? What are you doing?
You know, just getting my daily reps in.
Yeah, all right. No way you're making those reps. What are those, push-ups?
Who said anything about push-ups? I'm doing 12-ounce curls with some craft beer. That counts, right?
Okay. Hello and welcome to the Broken Speaker Podcast. My name is Greg and I am joined by my co-host and brother, Brian. Today we are getting ripped, pumping some iron, making gains, and chugging whey protein. That's right, we're talking about working out.
For sure, Greg. There are a lot of funky get-ripped quick schemes in the world, and we have both had our own workout journeys. Join us as we take a gentle jog into the wonderful world of physical fitness.
Exactly, but before we overexert ourselves too much here, let's go drink some beer. Brian, what are you drinking today?
So today, I have gone with Sierra Nevada's Ultra Vex, which is a ghost-style ale, an ale brewed with cactus, coriander, and grapefruit. And they actually won a gold medal award at the World Beer Cup in 2016 for this beer, for session beer. I've never had it before. It seems very interesting. I would have never thought that I could brew a beer with a cactus.
Yeah, that's what I'm sitting here like, cactus? How?
Yeah, so they say that we happened upon a sweet, tangy blend of native-grown prickly pear cactus and grapefruit combined with the zing of a traditional gose. It's Gose. I don't know how it's pronounced. I don't think it's goose, but it's gose. I don't know. For a vicious but delicious twist on a stodgy summer sipper.
That's a tongue twister right there.
It really is. I struggled with that. But yeah, no, I'm excited to try this and see where it takes me. Greg, what are you drinking today?
So now I think we had our heads in the same place. Even though we're not in the same state anymore, we both bought beers from the same company. That's right. I'm drinking a Sierra Nevada Pale Ale. Just a standard, the old faithful Pale Ale. It's just, I think, Brian, have you had this on the podcast before?
I don't know if I've had the Pale Ale on the podcast, but I think I might have talked about it possibly before. I don't know, but I've had the Sierra Nevada Pale Ale, and I have thoroughly enjoyed this. Actually, I know I have not had the Pale Ale. The Pale Ale I had was, I believe, from Deschutes.
Okay, all right. Well, either way, I'm having the Pale Ale from Sierra Nevada today, and it's essentially one of their, I guess, standard brews. So hopefully it's good. So far it is. I'm actually really enjoying it. So that's a treat. And by the end of the podcast, I'll give you my full impression of what this wonderful beer tastes like. But I think that's enough of getting into what we're drinking. Brian, do you have a beer fact for us this week?
Yeah, it's actually I think it's more of a beer conversation. But a lot of people out there, I know this is a question that's burned into a lot of people's minds, and they probably have their own opinion. Which is healthier, wine or beer? Greg, what do you think?
Off the top of my head, I would say wine is probably healthier. I mean, it has that stigma associated with it, right?
Right, and I think that most people in the world would be right there with you. Now, back when I was an undergrad at Colorado State University, I actually wrote a paper on which is healthier, beer versus wine. And I started to notice that there were a lot of scientific papers written about this where people had done tests and they looked at people's drinking habits and how it affected their health over time. And what was interesting is there's actually what they call a J-shaped curve when consuming any kind of alcohol. So wine or beer or even spirits. So if you don't drink anything, you have and this is actually, I should say this is specifically in reference to heart conditions like heart attacks or blood pressure or something like that. But they'd use the J-shaped curve regularly throughout the studies done with the beer and wine and spirits. But if you don't drink anything, no alcohol, you have a slightly higher risk of a heart attack or heart condition. If you drink a couple glasses of beer, or I think it was a glass and a half of wine, or one shot of hard spirits per night, per day, it slightly lowers. But the minute that you start drinking more than that, your risk of heart conditions goes up dramatically. So it's kind of like a J. Now, what I found interesting about this was that it wasn't the beer, it wasn't the wine, it's actually the ethanol. So the reason why it's different concentrations of all of them is that it's the ethanol that's good for your heart. And that's why it helps reduce the amount of heart attack risk when consumed in moderation, which we're all preached when we start drinking alcohol, is consume it in moderation. Now, what was also interesting is a lot of these studies pointed to the dietary lifestyles of people who drank beer and wine. Now, when you drink wine, generally they consider people eat the Mediterranean diet. And the Mediterranean diet consists of a lot of fresh vegetables, fish, a lot of, you'd think of Italian foods, but fresh food, good for you. Whereas people who drink beer generally associate that with pizza and, burgers. Yeah, burgers. But you know what I mean? A little bit more fatty foods. So they think that more than just what you drink, so drink it in moderation, and then also watch what you drink it with. But there are a lot of studies out there, and again, this is by no means, I'm not being a medical expert here or anything, but it's just what I kind of read for a quick paper in college and what I remember. So go out there and look up those studies on your own. I guarantee you'll be very fascinated with some of the stuff that they've done and the reports that they've looked into, because I learned a lot in a short amount of time.
So basically, to sum it up, it doesn't matter what kind of alcohol you drink. Just drink a little bit of alcohol every day, or try to.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I always kind of start thinking about, have you ever heard those stories where, they interview a 104-year-old, war vet, and they're like, well, what's your secret to living so long? And they're like, well, I smoked a cigar and drank a shot of whiskey every day. And you're like, how could that possibly be healthy for you? And it's not really their secret to, health and living a long time. But they did it all in moderation. They never overconsumed one thing or another. And they probably, had other aspects of their life that impacted their health. So you can't look at just the one thing. You got to look at the whole picture.
That's a good way to put it, Brian. Now, when we're talking about big picture, are you saying don't just drink a beer and eat some food, but maybe you should go work out afterwards?
Yeah, that's kind of exactly what I'm saying.
Wow, what a segue there.
But yeah, Greg, you and I have both, since we were in high school, or even earlier, we grew up playing sports and being active, riding our bikes around the neighborhood and always doing physically active activities. To me, working out's been a part of my life for years now.
Yeah, I remember you and I in high school having personal trainer sessions at, what was it, Total Sports or something like that?
I can't remember the name of it, but yeah, no, because you were training for soccer and I was training for football, and the whole point was that this was getting our speed up and our strength up.
Yeah, outside of normal practice or normal training for those typical sports, whatever the actual high school sport training program would be. But regardless, we did personal training because we recognized that, just practicing after school 3 times a week or something isn't really enough to actually stay fit. You really have to work hard. A lot of challenging things in a gym or however you want to do that work to realize the gains and the health benefits that come with actually working out.
Yeah, and I think what I've realized of getting older, it's not so much that the workouts get harder, at least at my age right now. And I wouldn't say I'm old by any means.
You're old, Brian. Yes, you're old.
Okay, fine. I'm trying to stay young as long as I can. If I tell myself I'm young, I'm young.
Okay.
But anyways, I think that the hardest part that I've found is that in high school, I didn't have very many responsibilities, and I could take an hour or two a day and, work out. And I had no problem scheduling that into my routine. Whereas once I got to college, I started having other priorities, and my schedule started being a little bit more sporadic. And, now working, I don't always have time to go to the gym. And it's hard to keep a normal schedule when week by week your schedule changes.
Now, the way we got around that in college, if I remember correctly, was we had a spout of trying to go to the gym bright and early in the morning at 7 a.m., and then going to an 8 a.m. class afterwards, right?
I think that it was actually at either 5:30 or 6. I think we left the house at 5:30 and the gym opened at 6.
It was way too early, whenever that was.
It was, and I think we did it for about a year, or maybe even just one semester. But it was rough. It was hard because you had to wake up every morning, and it was good because we both kind of pushed each other along the ways. But there were some mornings where you and I both just said, "No, not happening."
Yeah,
probably me more than you. But in any case, I mean, we've tried doing stuff together, and we've tried doing our own thing. But I think that the main thing that I've learned is that the worst thing you can do is just not do anything at all.
Yeah. Well, so now enlighten me, Brian. Do you have a gym membership right now?
I actually just canceled mine.
Okay.
So let me explain this a little bit, because it's going to seem kind of counterintuitive that I'm talking about working out and how I should always constantly be doing stuff, but I just canceled my gym membership.
Yeah, Brian, practice what you preach.
Exactly. Well, so I have always struggled going to the gym with a kind of an awkward schedule. I work midnight shift a lot, and so sometimes the time when I have time to go to the gym might be when the gym's closed. Now, I've looked into those 24-hour-a-day, gym memberships, and they're always a little pricey. So what I finally did about a week ago is I bought a rowing machine, and I currently have it in my bedroom. And so I can roll out of bed, and I can hop on my rowing machine and do a quick workout. Now, it's not as all-inclusive as the gym. However, I've found that it's a lot easier, and there's a lot less excuses, because I don't have to worry about getting to the gym and, making sure I have my headphones or stuff like that. I'm in my room. I have everything I need. So now that's only been a week, but I've seen I've been doing my workouts more regularly, and I've actually felt better. I don't know if this is a long-term solution, but I think this is going to be a good change and a good effort on my part. But Greg, you've done some workouts in your house before. You've kind of set up your house to have a little bit of a workout station.
Well, yeah. So now the story with me is a little bit different. I could probably find time to go to the gym after work or something like that. And I used to have a gym membership for a year and a half or so, where I would essentially on the weekends end up going to the gym and doing some sort of workout. Usually it was just running on the treadmill and then doing some of the machines, whatever one was open, because I have this really weird fear of people judging me at the gym. I know, it doesn't make any sense, but that's the reason why I don't like the gym in the first place, because there's so many people there and it's just this crowded area. You're always fighting for the machines or the weights or anything like that. So it's just a situation that I prefer to avoid. And as a result, being kind of the introverted weirdo I am, and having, the sort of space that I have in my apartment right now, I actually purchased some free weights. So I've got a medicine ball, and I have a bike, but I have a setup so that I can, it's a trainer so that I can set the bike up and ride it in my apartment. Now, it's good and all, and I use the weights, and I do, some pretty standard just body weight workouts alongside it. But the bike itself, in my current situation, since I live on the third floor above people, it's not quiet. So I can't do it whenever I wake up. Like, I can't wake up and go ride my bikes. I'm not like you in that instance. And there's a few things. and I usually try to make excuses to get out of doing a lot of the workouts that I do. So, yes, I do have the equipment. Yes, I can do my workouts on my own, but I've been kind of slacking on that front, and I know it's bad. And every once in a while, I'll get into a kick where I just start going and doing workouts and actually following through with a schedule. But it's really hard to actually maintain any of that stuff, especially when I come home from work and all I want to do is lay on the couch and go to sleep. And then when I wake up in the morning, I only have 30 minutes before I have to drive off to work. So, working a lot and trying to balance all of that in a healthy schedule is tough, but the benefits are definitely worthwhile, I think, in the long run.
Yeah, and actually, I want to go back to a point that you made, Greg, about how the gym can be kind of a hostile situation for a lot of people. And I don't think that you're alone, because the other day I was watching TV, and have you ever heard of Planet Fitness?
Yeah, I mean, don't they have that ad where it's like they're trying to say their whole thing is that they're inclusive and there's a no hunk zone or whatever it is?
Yeah, but so I don't think you're alone. I think that a lot of people out there find the gym intimidating and find the gym, awkward, and that's why they don't go. And I think that's detrimental. So it's kind of cool that something that you've experienced firsthand, and I've definitely experienced that too. Like if I take a little while off of the gym, going back in, I know that I'm not going to be able to, put up the weight that I used to back when I was playing football. It's kind of awkward. It steers you away from certain machines, and you don't want to go in certain areas because it's just, it's awkward. So, but I think there are businesses that understand that is a major deterrent for some people, and they're offering, a solution to that. So that's pretty cool itself, other than just doing it at home. Now, personally, I like just doing it at home because I look really awkward when I get on a rowing machine. I am a larger guy, and I was meant to do short sprints. I played offensive line. Cardio is not my strong suit. Let's put it that way. So doing it at home in my own little private space is, attractive to me, because then I just don't look like, that weirdo that can barely do 20 minutes on the rowing machine.
I'm sorry, Brian. I was just looking up something about Planet Fitness while you were talking there. And now I heard this as a rumor, and I wanted to double check before I bring this up. Apparently, Planet Fitness has an actual lunk alarm in their gyms.
They have a lunk alarm?
Yeah. So apparently it's an actual alarm, and there's signs that say no deadlift, but it's supposed to go off when people are making like loud noises or grunting or something. That's what people are saying. And I really don't know if that's it, because that kind of turns me off from Planet Fitness in the first place, if that's what they're going for.
Wow. I mean, I kind of want to go to Planet Fitness to see if this is true. And actually, I kind of want to go just to be completely ridiculous and possibly set the alarm off and see what happens.
Yes.
So, but anyways, that's probably for another topic of, we'll do a whole podcast on Brian getting kicked out of Planet Fitness. I'll try to live stream it.
It'll be our prank episode, right?
Yeah, we'll do a prank episode. Yeah,
okay.
No, we'll stash that one away.
Okay, good.
But I think in general, the next thing I kind of want to talk about, and this is something that I have a little bit more experience with. I know you've taken protein before. I don't know if you've taken anything else, but I've taken a few different kinds of supplements, and I've actually spent a lot of money on supplements before. And I know that some people swear by them, but I kind of have a polarizing view on it, saying that it's a waste of money and time.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, and the only reason why I say that is because. So let's go into what I've done before. So I've never used steroids or anything like that, but I've taken protein religiously, creatine religiously. I've taken pre-workout alpha acids, kind of the general stuff. And I always take it in kind of a routine. So I always took, my creatine before workouts, and then I would, along with my my pre-workout, and then I would take protein afterwards, and with my alpha acids. Now, about every month, I was spending maybe $100, $150 on these supplements. And they made me feel great, or at least I thought they did. But the minute that I stopped using them regularly or stopped going to the gym as consistently, I lost all the gains or all the, progress that I made using these. So I don't know, and I'm actually trying something now. All my workouts that I'm doing at home, I'm not taking any supplements. Because I'm going to try to see if I can, get back to a certain physical shape that I'm looking for without the supplements, and see if it really was a waste of money, because that's a lot of money to be spending every month.
Yeah, $150 is a lot. And in my case, I actually cannot stand the taste of whey protein. Do you know what whey is, Brian?
It is milk proteins.
Well, yeah, but it's a byproduct of cheese. Now, I love cheese. Cheese is great. Cheese is my favorite thing in the world. Well, one of my favorite things in the world. But whey protein is absolutely disgusting to me. So yes, I've taken it in the past and I've used supplements, but I can never keep a perfect schedule because it makes me want to get sick after I drink it.
Now, when you've taken whey protein in the past, have you just bought it from Walmart or King Soopers or something?
I've just bought whatever's on the shelf at Kroger, Brian.
Okay, so that is the one thing that I will argue for going to a supplement store like GNC. The proteins that they have there taste a lot better and are actually a lot more attractive. They don't have that chalky whey protein taste. It actually tastes better.
But so then that's what makes it more expensive, I'm assuming, in the long run.
Oh, absolutely. And, probably whey protein's whey protein. So you're really just paying for the better taste, probably.
Probably.
But, yeah, so I don't know, man. It's hard for me to believe that it's totally worth it when the minute that, I'm talking within a week of you stopping supplements, I've noticed a decline in my shape, the shape that I'm in. So it's almost like you have to keep going. It's like a vicious cycle. And who wants to spend $150 a month?
So whey protein and all those supplements might be a scam in the long run. We don't know now. We're not scientists, so we don't really have that study down. But Brian, you mentioned something there. Your ideal form. What is that? Are you a big ol' hunky strong man like the Mountain? Or are you Arnold the weightlifter bodybuilder?
I don't know. The perfect ideal form has changed so much for me personally. And I don't know if you go out in the world today, if you could ask, 100 people if they would say the same exact thing. Because I've noticed the best shape that I was ever in was when I was, pushing 300 pounds. And I felt more physically fit at that point than I ever did. Now, I didn't look physically fit because I was playing football and they were trying to put more weight on me. But when I felt great. And so at that point, I started realizing that maybe my body type doesn't show the muscle. I'm a little bit heavier guy. And I can be able to work out. I can even run, a 5K and not look like I'm a runner. I'm not one of those marathon runners that, weighs 110 pounds and, but it can run for hours and hours and hours. But I could run a 5K. So I feel good. I feel healthy. And so I think that my personally, my ideal physical body right now is just to be healthy. I don't think I have an image. I'm not looking to do a strongman competition. Although I do enjoy watching the strongman competitions because some of the stuff they do is just absolutely incredible.
Those are great, aren't they? They just walk around and lift boulders and put them on things just for the heck of it, right?
Yeah, or throw a rock over top a high jump pole over the back of their heads. I don't know. It blows my mind that there's men out there that can, do this kind of stuff. Men and women.
Yes,
in
yes.
2018, we have to be all inclusive. But it just blows my mind that, they're this strong. Now, a lot of them don't look like, bodybuilding competition people like the Mountain. He's strong, and you can obviously tell he's ridiculously strong. But they're power lifters versus, physique lifters, I would call them. The Arnold Schwarzeneggers and the, people like that who do kind of the, Mr. Universe, I think is what it's called.
It's the showman bodybuilding, where you're more interested about oiling up your muscles and flexing them correctly on the show, as opposed to actually having the strength to lift an object.
Yeah, and sometimes I look at those people doing that, and I look at the muscles that they have, and I'm like, okay, hold on, I've never seen a muscle there before. Are you sure that's not a tumor?
Yeah, that's definitely one of the things.
Yeah, so it doesn't seem attractive to me. It doesn't seem interesting to me. That's not what I'm going for. Now, when I was younger, I was trying to get big arms and big legs, and I think I've reached a point where that's not attractive to me. Maybe that means I'm growing up. I don't know. Greg, what about you? Like, what do you think the ideal body type is?
The ideal human form is Arnold Schwarzenegger, Brian.
Arnold?
Yeah. No.
Get to the chopper!
I recently watched, what is it? Total Recall with Arnold. Okay. Yeah. It was in his bodybuilding heyday where he's just this big old hunking dude doing all of his lifts and doing all the stunts and stuff like that. It's great. I love it.
Yeah, I mean, that's okay. So that's your ideal, form.
No, I mean, okay. So I know individually, my ideal form is going to be a lot different than Arnold's actually is. I'm no bodybuilder, and I'm no real strong man. So I definitely don't have the physique of anything we're talking about here. I'm a nerd. I'm an engineer. I play video games, and I basically just keep in shape. I'm probably more along the lines of the marathon runner, even though I can probably not run a marathon. So I think personally my ideal form is whatever I'm in right now. I'm okay and comfortable in my body. I'm not in peak physical condition, so I know I can improve. But, as I am right now, I can go for a run, I can go for a bike ride, I can do a bunch of other stuff. I can lift weights, I can do things. It's good. I'm in whatever condition I'm in, and I'm happy with it. So I'm accepting of my body as it is right now. There we go.
So, okay, so we both kind of have different ideas of, what our goals are. But what do you think, like a general, if you had to tell someone, if you do this, regardless of what kind of workout it is, if you work out this much per week and you eat like this, do you think there's a guideline, a general thing that we can possibly say that you've kind of come across just in your time? Like, I won't say that this is like, medically like suggested or anything like that, but what do you think like is the ideal?
All right, Brian, I'm going to stretch my nerd muscles here, and I'm going to bring in, have you ever heard of One Punch Man?
One Punch Man? No, I don't think I have.
Okay, all right. So it's an anime. So super nerd muscles here coming on right now. But it's basically this guy, and he's a superhero. And he's essentially this the thing is he can punch any enemy, any monster, and he destroys it in one punch. So he's One Punch Man. And he hates it because he's too powerful. He wants to have a real fight. Okay, so that's the premise of the show, whatever. But anyways, during the show, it explains what his ideal workout regimen is and what he does every day. So he tells his follower, all you have to do to become as strong as him is 100 push-ups, 100 sit-ups, 100 squats, 10 kilometers of running, and do it every single day of a week. That's it. So there you go. That's the supreme workout to become an anime superhero. So I think that is definitely a good guideline to follow, because I mean, if you do that, you're going to get fit. That's pretty good workout. It's not over intensive. It's just kind of like, it'll give you some upper body strength, some muscles in the legs. You'll run, so you get some cardio. It's kind of like an all around thing. I like it. So that's what I would say. Okay.
So yeah, no, I mean, definitely I would say that that's something that you could do, but I would even argue that you don't even have to do that much to be, physically fit. I would say that if you worked out 3 to 5 days a week, and did whatever kind of workout. I mean, a workout could even be like you riding your bike to the store or to work or around town rather than driving or taking the bus. And I think a big thing is probably the diet too. So I know that people who like are trying to gain mass and stuff, they eat ridiculous amounts of calories. And it's because they burn a ridiculous amount of calories, but they need to gain mass somehow. I don't think that you have to do that, but I think that, watching what you eat, making sure you don't eat Wendy's, 7 days a week, and you don't have, you don't do the whole McDonald's supersize me thing. Although I think like you could probably eat fast food for a week straight, and like if you ate healthy options, you could probably figure it out. But I don't think that's healthy. I just think you should, add some fresh fruit. Like there's that whole thing, eat an apple a day, keep the doctor away. I think there's some truth to that.
Now, recently, Brian, I'll tell you this. I have been making and taking salads for lunch at my work. And instead of going to the cafeteria and getting a cheeseburger or, I don't know, some fancy meal they have going on there, some stir-fry thing, I have been taking a salad to work every day and eating it. And it's actually made me feel a lot better just doing that.
So, interesting thing, too. And I was going to say that. So taking your lunch, you know what you're going to eat. You feel a little bit healthier about it. Like you feel good about yourself, right? So, but you know what I've also noticed is that it saves money.
Oh, that's the biggest part, dude.
Yep. So, but it's interesting. Once you start justifying, like, so for me, like, one, I'm justifying it by saying it's healthy. And two, I'm justifying it by saying it's saving me money. So it's hard to say no. It's hard to, just not bring your lunch. Take 15 extra minutes and put something together and bring it to work with you.
Yeah, it's a win-win.
Absolutely. So I think that's pretty much, we've gone over our routines and what we do and what we've tried before, right, Greg?
Yeah, but now, Brian, what we've done is pretty normal and pretty bland, I would even say. What we don't do is some of the coolest workouts in the world.
No, you're talking like P90X or something?
No, Brian. Have you ever heard of Prancercise?
No.
Well, you should look it up. If you go to Prancercise.com, there is a load of source material to get you going in dancing while walking and working out all of your body through the efforts of Prancercise.
Greg, hold on. Is this the thing that Tosh.0 had on his show a few years ago?
This might be. Let me read the wonderful definition here. It's Prancercise, copyright, is defined as a springy, rhythmic way of moving forward, similar to a horse's gait, and ideally induced by elation. And so, if you go to this website, you will be greeted by a wonderful older woman who is dancing in a meadow with a horse photoshopped behind her. And if you go to news and media, you will find videos of her dancing around while walking, doing quote-unquote Prancercise. So there you go. That's a better workout than anything we've ever been doing. Just prance.
This is how serial killers are born. Like, that just is the first thing that comes to my head.
Oh.
But...
Okay. It's just dancing, Brian. Has nothing to do with murder.
It's prancing. It's not dancing. It's prancing. I'm watching the video right now, and...
Live reactions?
This isn't a workout. Now, actually, you know what? To each their own.
If you're old and you have bad joints and you just want to go dance through a meadow, this might be the thing for you. For you and me, though, maybe there's a better option. And I think you've heard of this. Have you ever heard of CrossFit?
CrossFit. Greg, of course I've heard of CrossFit, because everybody the first rule of CrossFit is to tell other people that you do CrossFit.
Yes, exactly. Now, CrossFit is really just like it's like heavy weightlifting and doing kind of like, I don't know, it's like high impact workouts, but it's all about like this culture behind cheering each other on and actually having some sort of a support behind what you're doing and recognition behind what you're doing. Now, personally, I mean, I told you I'm an introvert. That would be the worst thing possible for me. If they put me in the middle of a group of people and said, all right, now go lift this thing up and do a lift or whatever. Like, okay, yeah, that's never going to happen. So that's my personal take on it, Brian. I don't know. Do you think you could ever get into CrossFit?
So I have a lot of friends that do CrossFit, and I've thought about doing CrossFit before, but two things strike me. One, so a normal gym membership is going to cost you anywhere between $30 and $50 a month, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
CrossFit memberships are costing you like $100 to $150 a month. So you're investing a lot of money, and you can only go like 3 days a week with that $150.
Well, they have certificates they can give you so that you're certified in CrossFit.
So, well, here's the other thing. A lot of the CrossFit stuff is, and I've seen it before, and we've heard of people getting hurt doing CrossFit. because they like say like, okay, this bar, I want you to carry it above your head and get it and walk down or run down to that line as fast as possible, however you can do it.
Mm-hmm.
And people end up straining their muscles or trying too hard and stuff like that. I personally think that that's it. Now, I know a lot of people who swear by CrossFit. Personally, with my body, because it's been beat down because of football. Like, I've got joint issues in my shoulders and my knees, and my back hurts all the time. I think that this would just be a recipe for me to get hurt. But maybe other people, their bodies can still take that. I have to worry about, low impact exercises personally for me. And I don't feel like having to tell everybody what I just worked out on. Like, that's not a conversation that I feel like I need to have. And I feel like that would make me a bad CrossFitter.
Well, fair enough.
But yeah, no, to each their own. I mean, this is a non-judgmental podcast. Whatever works for you, you should do it.
Non-judgmental, but I'm totally judging you in the background.
Oh yeah, no, people should understand that I'm judging you. But is there any other crazy things that you found out there in your research, Greg?
Yes, I've done a lot of research, if you haven't recognized. So we're going to move on to the next wonderful tool of workout magic. Have you ever heard of the body blade?
The body blade? No, I have not.
Okay, well, now this is something that's backed up by research, and you can tell by on their website how it's featured on CNN and NBC and Today and Men's Fitness. Yeah, anyways, it's basically this weird bow-looking thing, but it's kind of got weights on the ends of it, and it's got this central grip that you're supposed to hold. And now, so what's supposed to happen is the weights on the end flex back and forth as you move it in certain ways, and you're supposed to resist that movement with your muscles. So it's kind of like this resistive workout that you're supposed to do. But I mean, you're going to look like a fool with this fancy thing. You're basically just whipping around like whoop, 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 whoop.
I mean, do you know what that reminds me of, Greg?
Yeah, what does it remind you of, Brian?
The shake weight.
Exactly. That is the next thing on my list. How did you know?
I think that for a TV or internet fad of a workout, like a piece of equipment, it has to make you look completely ridiculous. I think that's like one of the things that it has to be. Well, and shake weight. I mean, South Park has done an episode making fun of the shake weight.
Yeah, I mean, the shake weight really walked into that one there. And when I tried to do research here, I actually looked up shake weight and tried to find the company and the website. It's not in the top links. The first links are like videos of people doing stupid things with shake weights. So it's just a joke.
You know what? I'm sure that the person that invented the shake weight is probably shaking their head right now and is just like, why? Why did I ever do this?
With all of that money, I don't think he cares.
That's probably true. Yeah. That's probably true.
Yeah.
But, I mean, anything else, Greg?
So, you all know of the wonderful Bowflex, right?
Oh, yeah, Chuck Norris.
Yeah. Chuck Norris will sell you a Bowflex to hang your clothes on.
Yeah.
I wonder how many households have bought the Bowflex and it's sitting in their basement but has not been used for, 20 years.
Oh, yeah, because it's a great idea at first, but, are you actually going to use it regularly?
And I also feel like you could probably get, tangled and hurt and seriously trapped in a lot of the different, configurations that they advertise.
We'll see, Greg, you know how the Bowflex is supposed to actually be used, right?
Sorry, what?
Do you know how the Bowflex is actually supposed to be used?
No, I don't. Enlighten me.
Chuck Norris stares at it, and then it starts moving.
Oh, all right. So I need to go get a Chuck Norris alongside with my Bowflex.
Yeah, you need a Chuck Norris for it to work perfectly.
Okay, fair enough. And now I think it comes to the end of my research. Have you ever heard of horse riding fitness Ace Power?
No, I have not heard of any of that.
Well, it is a wonderful Korean device that is intended to basically mimic riding a horse. Now, if you watch the video that I linked to, you'll notice that it is extremely suggestive in the pelvic thrusting, and it is very awkward, and watching people do this is insanely odd.
All right, hold on. I'm watching this now, and it is exactly as you just described it.
Yes, it is. It is basically just a seat you sit on, you straddle it, and you gyrate your hips in awkward motions to flex everything.
I think that we need to make sure that we post both the prancercising video and the horse riding fitness ace power video.
Well, yeah, I mean, credit due where credit is earned, right? Is that how it goes?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, that's that right there. Those two videos are internet gold. like, I don't know if they get any better than that. Like, that's awesome.
Oh, wow. This is great. I'm sorry. I'm getting distracted by the lovely advertising. I believe there's a newer version of this, but this is like the most classic example of it. So there you go. That is all I had for my wonderful, crazy, fancy, funky workout fads. I'm sure there are plenty more out there. In fact, if you know of any, feel free to comment about it below. But Brian, that brings us to the end of our podcast now. Do you have any closing thoughts?
Yeah, so I guess my closing thoughts, my last call of the podcast would start with my beer, my Otra Vez from Sierra Nevada. And it's good. It actually surprised me, though, is that it tastes a little sour, it's not bitter, it's sour. But I think that's the grapefruit and possibly the cactus.
That does sound like grapefruit. Grapefruit is sour.
Mm-hmm. But I liked it. It was good. It was a very sessionable beer. And I think that it... I'd drink it again. I don't know if I'd drink more than one of them at a time, but it was a good change-up. It was refreshing. I really liked it. As for, my last call, my closing thoughts for working out, I want to bring up one thing, and so again, about my rowing machine. I talked about how awesome it was and how great of a time I had, like just being able to roll out of bed and have it there, and it's worked out really well so far. Even better, I didn't even have to go to the store to buy it. I bought it on Amazon and had it shipped for free 2-day shipping to my door. But that actually, I'm not going to lie, that actually surprised me because it's about a 150-pound box.
Okay.
And the UPS man dropped it off right at my door. And that's the largest thing I've ever had delivered to my house. But it can be done, and you can buy it off of Amazon.
There you go.
I will say this, though. Amazon's kind of letting me down lately because, still haven't got my T-shirt, Jeff. And
I think he hasn't heard it. You got to tweet it to him, Brian.
You know what? I think we're going to have to start getting on Twitter and tweeting Jeff Bezos.
Yeah.
And just berating him until he sends me a frickin' T-shirt.
No. That's not what Twitter's for. I don't know who's teaching you Twitter, but berating people is not on Twitter. That's not how it works.
Okay, let's be honest. I think I might have a Twitter account, but I've definitely never Twittered anything.
Tweeted
anything.
There you go, right?
Okay, that's my knowledge of Twitter right there.
Okay.
But for working out, I mean, in all seriousness, I think that there's so many different kinds of workouts and so many different things you can do. As long as you're making efforts, you're gonna stay healthy. And I think that everybody should look at doing the workouts the way that they want to do it. They shouldn't worry about what other people look like, what other people are doing. Do what works for you. And then you'll just feel better in the long run. I think that's what workouts are for, is, working out is to make yourself feel better. That's all I got. But Greg, what about you? What's your last call?
So, starting with my beer, the Sierra Nevada Pale Ale. This is actually a really good beer. And now that I've drinking one beer, I'll be done for the night and my heart will be super healthy. So that's a good thing there.
Moderation.
Yes, in moderation. But yeah, I really like the beer. It was good, it's smooth, it's gone. So it's good. I'd drink it again.
And this is the point of the podcast where we say that we are proudly sponsored by Sierra Nevada. No, I'm just joking.
Not at all.
We're not sponsored by Sierra Nevada. We can't. No, that is not Sierra Nevada. Please don't sue us. But I just thought it was funny that you and I both picked a beer from the same company.
Yeah, that was pretty clever. Good planning there.
Oh yeah.
So that's the beer. As far as working out goes, I think the biggest part is you don't have to look good working out. You just have to do it. I think the best thing is if you get active and have elevated heart rate for 20 minutes a day, even, your heart's going to do better in the long run. So realistically, just getting out and doing anything that you can think of that seems like a workout, that's good enough. And so really what I need to do with my life is actually buy the horse riding fitness ace power and just thrust my way through every evening and have a wonderful workout. Or maybe a shake weight. One of those. That's what I'm going to do.
I think the thrusting is the key part there. I think thrusting is the answer.
Yeah, you think? Okay.
Yeah.
All right, I'll look into buying one of those. I'll tell you how it goes on the next podcast.
That sounds great.
Well, thanks everybody for listening. This has been another wonderful episode of the Broken Speaker Podcast. Go check us out on brokenspeakerpodcast.com. And from us to you, have a good one. Bye.